Wait for it. Okay. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, TheDawnElizabeth, and here we are with episode 6 of Let's Be Real with TheDawnElizabeth. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Sheila Jackson. Welcome, Sheila. Welcome.
Hi, Dawn. Thanks for having me. Happy Sunday, everybody.
I
Hopefully,
know.
you're out of church.
Well, right. Some people probably still in church, but they'll see it later. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's introduce Miss Sheila. Sheila is an amazing woman. It's so much to say about this lady, but we're gonna keep it short and sweet. She is a person that's very spiritual within her journey. She's been training for over 12 years, been in the fitness game for over 12 years with so many certifications, including the NASM Certified Personal Trainer, a former NETA Group Fitness Instructor, a certified pain-free performance specialist, and a former fitness competitor. She is currently a franchise owner and a former director of a successful outdoor bootcamp company, and she has just launched Sheila J Fitness. So we also going to be giving y'all those details as well. She is located in Houston, ladies. So y'all have all the details to join her today. And also, she is very passionate about helping families make fitness a part of their everyday lives and achieve greatness at any age. She uses Christian principles and the relatable experiences to help them stay in the game and live active lifestyles because that's the goal. Right, Miss Sheila?
Yes. Wow, that was it so beautifully. Thank you so much. Sometimes I
So,
have a hard time thinking about how long I've been doing what I've been doing and actually just like, man, I've done so much. So
a
thank you for
lot.
that.
Yes, we have to line it all out because sometimes when you get so busy with life, you forget as like how many blessings that you have given to so many people around you just through all your experiences. That's why I thought you would be the perfect person to come talk to my live today. So first of all, y'all, when I was getting my certified pain-free performance specialization, I met Sheila there. And just with the way this just a commentary she added to the group, I was like, this lady know a lot. I need to try to introduce myself to her. And from then on there, we talked. I met her, and ever since then, it's just been good vibes. And I thought that she could come add a lot to this live today, give you guys a lot of information. So I'm gonna stop talking and we're gonna let her take the floor today.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
So let's go ahead and get started with the first question. All right. So when did you start your wellness journey?
Oh my goodness. So it's been quite a while, but I like to use my son as a reference. So that's where I would say officially I started like an intentional wellness journey after my son was born. So I think when you're younger, you try to. I have two children, so I have a daughter who's my first child, and I think prior to like how you just know like okay, I need to work out. Like that's probably the basis of what I knew, and I kind of did some, and didn't do any, and then you're like partying and all this different type of stuff, but it didn't really become real until I just like was just absolutely uncomfortable in my skin, and that was after I had my son. So it was about 6 months. He was about 6 months old, and I decided, you know what, I need to do something because I was just really ultimately unhappy with myself. I didn't feel good at all, and my story goes way back with grief. With my father passing away when I was 14 years old, and he was a big part of just everything that I did in terms of extracurricular activities and sports. I was a sports girl. I was named most athletic in 8th grade, and I was heavily involved in 3 different sports and all different activities. So I was just like all around this student athlete, really. And when he passed away, when I was in going into the 10th grade, it was devastating. It seemed like all the reasons why I was doing it was more so because of him. And when he wasn't there, it's just like I didn't want to do anything at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it just started like this kind of journey and path, you never know where it's going to take you. So initially it started with just myself. Like, I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way that I look. I don't know how to dress this body.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do something about it. And that's kind of where it started. So yeah, I did. It's interesting because I did things that, the typical person who's just starting would do, like things that feel good, things that I felt like I could manage. So I did Zumba on the
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Connect. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Connect. I'm probably dating myself, but like there's this game. There was this gaming system called the Connect, and they had Zumba and dance and all this stuff. So I would do that first. Yeah, I would do that first just to feel like I was doing something, and then I started a nutritional program. With like people who were offering nutritional supplements and things of that nature, and that's really where it started. It
Where it
started there. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then that one moment, that whole moment just turned into you being a beautiful blessing to so many families and people around you. That's why you can never forget why you started. Always keep that
Yeah,
why you started in mind. Because it's good to look back on when stuff get a little shaky, you get a little weary, things get challenging. So thank you for
yeah.
telling us that. So
Thank
I
you.
know you said that you started with Zumba and then you started with the offering, like going to people who offer nutritional stuff to get you started. So how did that lead up into you becoming a fitness trainer?
Well, okay, so I have to back up just a little
Let's back
bit
it up. Back
because
it up. Back
there was like a certain tenacity, I guess, that I had that people were drawn to. And when I first started, and first I was just in my living room with just myself, right? And then when I felt like, okay, I got a little bit of confidence, then I joined LA Fitness. Shout out to the Tucker location out there. It's still like my membership's still through there or whatever, even all these years, right? So I remember getting a gym membership there and just kind of doing all these classes, and people would remember me as the mom that was running in there with basically a small toddler and an infant, and I would come in the morning and then I would come in the evening, and I would like literally come like clockwork. Almost to the point where this guy, and shout out to my very first trainer, Jason, he's out there in LA now doing big things, and he started his stuff in LA Fitness. It's just weird how you see how people connect. Like he like
yes.
owns a gym and everything. There's just people who have special, like, is something special about certain people that I guess draw themselves to more special people. You
Mhm.
get what I mean? And
Yes.
at the time I didn't think I was that special, but
Yes.
he was like, he was just like, or my journey was that special. Let me say that. Right. And he was just like, hey, let me train you, and just like a lot of first time trainers, you try to get some clients underneath,
Mm-hmm.
the table or whatever. And man, he trained me, and I learned a lot just from him. And we would talk sports all the time, and then we moved. And I was about 1 year into my journey, and then we moved here. So of course, when it comes to moving to a new city, you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
But as long as you're like connected to at least maybe an organization or something, then it gives you an opportunity to meet people.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I'm speaking hindsight 2020. I didn't know that at the time. You get what I mean? I just like, hey, I gotta find a gym. So like, luckily there's LA Fitnesses here. So I started going to LA Fitness, and I befriended a lot of awesome people at this particular LA Fitness. And it's crazy because that LA Fitness is like a hub at the time. I guess it was a signature club, and a lot of celebrities and like people in the
Oh,
news, like
okay.
a lot of like just industry people would like go to that,
Perfect
place.
place. It was the perfect place.
Yeah, it was weird. But the most humble people, and
Yeah.
so anyway, and I was just like this, I had this vision of being a nomad boot camper. Like that was my thing. Like I want to be a nomad fitness person where I'll just go everywhere and just take all these classes. That's
Mm-hmm.
really what I was doing. And I remember taking a boot camp with Shape Body Fitness as one of the many small outdoor boot camps that were at Herman Park here in Houston, Texas. And this woman named Kat, shout out to Kat. She was just like, you know what? Have you ever thought about doing like leading classes or leading boot camps? I'm like, no. And she was like, I think you'll be she was just like, I think you'll be great at it. And I'm like, okay. And then and that wasn't the first time that I heard it. That was probably the first time I actually like listened to it, because a lot of people would
Yeah.
like tell me as they started seeing me shrinking. Because of course, like that first year I had some success with my body in Atlanta, and I had this tenacity, and people would just be like, man, you have some great energy,
Mm-hmm.
like you should try to do this. And you're like, no. And
Right.
then once I got
Not right
here,
now.
yeah, exactly. So then once I got here and I was getting a little bit more into, okay, this is not going away. This is not something that I plan on quitting in terms of my, my daily routine. Cause I've had a lot of people, and I always tell you guys this, like, it's weird when you make a shift into the healthy lifestyle and you're so excited about it, like even your closest people. And I know that like they didn't mean anything by it, but like they would tell me like, well, you know how you get excited about things, Sheila? Because like I get excited about things and then I'm not
Mhm.
excited about things, right? And I think a lot
Yeah.
of people deal with that. But when it came to fitness, there was something a little bit different about that. And people would put it in the same category as everything else,
Yeah.
and what I've known over the past 12 years is like not everybody really, I don't know that many people who actually love fitness. Like everybody needs it, but not everybody
Everybody.
loves it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I know I'm definitely one of the few. So it was, even though I'm listening to people telling me like, oh, you're not going to be able to sustain that, like just wait until life throws a curveball at you, like pretty much putting a quitting mentality on me,
Yes.
and fear. And what's interesting is when I look back, I'm like, grief is what really motivated me in the first place, like life happenings. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yet it would be the thing that would drive me down at the same time. You get what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there might be a duality in that now that I look back, but whatever the driver was, I'm still here,
Still
and
doing
yeah, like I've had a lot of life happen, between the time that I made a decision up until now. And I think that's the thing, is like you got to make plenty of decisions.
it.
So,
Mhm.
um, so when that woman told me, "Hey, you should do this," I thought about it, and then I went into researching a group fitness certification, and it was weird because the timing of that, like I got that, and then I started training underneath her, and then I it was interesting enough. There was my spin instructor who I faithfully took spin classes with. He was there for years. Like his class was jamming. Okay. And he was just like, I'm quitting. And they, and they voted you to be the next spin instructor. I'm like,
Wow.
really? I've never taught a spin class before. I've just taken yours all this time. And it was interesting because around that time where I was auditioning to be a LA Fitness Group Fitness Instructor, I had already done boot camps, dibble and dabble there. That my husband lost his job, and I was just a stay at home mom, and it was just like, I don't know, a shift came in me where, and I didn't know what that shift was. I just knew that I had to keep my membership, so that's why I started working at LA Fitness, because I didn't want, that's like one thing I just wasn't going to give up, that and God,
Yeah.
and from there it more like it just is like this decision just opened up this. Don, this is real, like I'm tripping out right now because like I'm really going back and I'm like putting the dots together, and it's just like all it was just me saying yes and making a decision every single step of the way that got me where I am now. And it seems like
Mhm.
it's been happening in like these 7-year little increments, if that makes sense. So
Yes, that makes sense. And you could tell that like by me allowing you, like asking you to come talk about it, it's just like kind of giving you an epiphany right now. You just thinking about how everything
yeah.
just started to flow and work in your favor. But and you right, like sometimes you will have this energy that you don't think you have, and then people be like, like you could do this. You have people like motivating you, and like you said
Yeah.
about people not loving fitness, like you don't really be around people that love fitness unless you in that space. You see what I'm saying? But like just in
Right.
our everyday lives, we got to kind of go find those spaces where people around us to relate to the love and the passion that we have for it, and then allowing our love and passion to draw other people into seeing how amazing it could be to add into their lives. And
Yeah.
that's why it's a good thing to realize, to say yes to those decisions and let God
Yes.
take you on this journey
Yes.
to
And
whatever.
I never really felt good every time I said yes. Like I was always scared out of my
There, yes.
and just wondering like I think one of the biggest questions that I've had for myself was like, who? Like, one, who am I? Like I used to always
Mhm.
say, who am I? Like, who am I? I'm nobody special. Like, why would anybody want to come to my classes? Who
True.
would sign up for me? And yet every place that God has gifted me an opportunity, right, to be in front of his people. Like always look at it as a stage. For some reason, I always had the biggest classes. Like it was crazy.
Classes. From virtual to Camp Gladiator, big classes.
I've had
Yes.
big classes, and it's just like, and I just remember, especially when I had the opportunity. I know you're probably going to go here at some point to become a fitness competitor during a time where I probably no, it doesn't make sense to do that. My husband didn't have a job. Competing costs a lot of money, and I just remember God saying, "You know what, Sheila? All I ask is for you to tell everybody what I've done for you."
Mhm.
And as he put me in front, like in these spaces, so many people were coming into the space. Like you're talking about Saturday morning body works plus abs class. I didn't even know the format. I was teaching my own type of way, and I
Mhm.
had 35 people in this small indoor space every Saturday, like clockwork at 8 a.m. And
Woo.
it was like weird, to
Yeah. Woo.
be in this, position.
Yeah.
And people would tell me like all the time, and they would just be like, Sheila, it's your energy, it's your voice, it's your presence that make us want to come. And I'm just like, what is that? Like, like what, doesn't everybody have a lot of energy? Like I
Right.
did not really understand what that meant. And I've always questioned that. Like I know I'm a person that has a lot of energy. Um, but I really didn't understand what that meant until literally this year, So it's like now when I speak on it, I really do embrace it. I do have a lot of energy, and I'm grateful to God for it because He gives it to me even when I don't feel like I'm conditioned for it,
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just amazing. But anyway.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So
Okay.
I know you kind of mentioned it. So by you teach more so of group classes. So what are kind of like your three favorite tips that you give to your clients on like people who's looking to start or people who's looking to stay consistent? Like some that like when they in the zone working out, they kind of tired, they ready to give up. Like what's some stuff that you kind of just give them to make sure that they keep going, because we all know just from the minutes that we've been here, the energy is there. So we have the
Right.
energy. Yes.
Well, I am so grateful to God that He keeps me so grounded to the foundation because it's like His timing is impeccable. If you would have asked me this question probably about 3 years ago, I probably would not remember.
Hmm.
Or I wouldn't have an answer. But I mean, and I wrote down, that's why I have my phone right now, because I did write down the things that I do want. I have so many tips just because like I myself feel like I'm at ground foundation too, and I find that God does that a lot with me
Hmm.
as I go through these seasons in my fitness journey, my own personal fitness journey, as it relates to the people that I'm serving, so that there is no ego involved. There is some level of humility and that extra right, that kind of separates me from a peer or the people that I'm serving, is the fact that, God has given me this gift and talent in health and wellness, right? Like just he made me relatable enough to make to allow me to feel the same feelings, right, as everybody else, so that we understand we're on this journey together, right?
Together,
But then
yeah.
he gives me just a little bit more to be able to lead as well, and I've embraced that. Before, I used to be upset about that because first of all, I didn't have a language for it. I just always would self-sabotage. Like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to look this way. People would be disappointed in me. People would be like, see, I told you you were going to fail, right? Because I used to think I had to look a certain way in order to impact people, right? Because that's your proof. Your proof is this industry is very vague,
Yeah.
right? Your proof is how you look, but God has shown me something different, so I operate with a spirit of integrity. Basically, I try to be honest and do the things that I say I'm going to do, and lead in that way. So here goes my tips. Number one is start with easy wins that will help you build confidence. So just like I explained, when I first started, I started with Zumba. That's what helped me build confidence. I try not to I don't encourage people to jump into things that, if they're not feeling that confident enough, or they don't feel like they have enough trust with the environment that they're in, that it will make them feel defeated, right? You want to make sure that you're coming into a safe space. So there's a lot of group fitness programs out there that say, okay, this is for all fitness, levels. However, the leader or the coach may not talk to them in that way, if that makes sense, right? Or they might not meet them where they are. So I think that is important when, you're going into an environment that somebody can meet you where you are and you can get confident quickly. And I'm learning that even now with the youth that I get to work with every week, is that if we can build their confidence, they're going to feel like they can do anything. They don't care if their skills are there. Like, it's really just the belief. And I think about my childhood story, and where, for me, when my dad was there, it was that belief, that showing up, that made me feel like I could do anything. And when it went away, I felt like I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So find an easy win, build your confidence. Confidence is almost everything, right? And I think that the if this is a tie-in, so that's number one. If I can have 1A, is to build your strength, because when you feel strong, you feel confident. So that's where the easy win is. Like find something you can get strong in quick,
You
and
feel
then
it.
that confidence. Yeah. So just think about, like, if you're having like a bad a bad dressing day, but your hair is on point, ain't nobody gonna tell you nothing. Because at
Right.
least at the very least, like, if you can't put that last minute outfit together, or you can't put makeup on, at least your hair is done, right? Or at least I got my makeup on, and maybe everything else is out of place. So it's just like finding those easy wins. So number two, I think I already said this, but get good at one thing at a time. I think sometimes the fitness industry has so much information. You can get all these coaches, you get what I mean? Or you can get one coach that can do all the things for you. However, I think a good coach and a good trainer will understand that they have to feed you over time. Just like if we're going to school, I'm not going to give you all the lessons. If we're in chapter 1, I'm not going to give you chapter 10, right? Like, let's learn the foundation first. Let me meet you where you are. Like, if you haven't done anything, you don't know how to eat right, you never drank a whole bunch of water before, and you live a stressful life, and you don't work out, I am not going to throw everything at you all at once. I'm going to find an easy win for you. so that you can feel confident in that, and then we can build from there. So just getting really good at one thing at a time. So I think that's sometimes like, and this is even for trainers, if there's any trainers on here or coaches, like when you see somebody and they're like, oh, well, I just run around the block, don't negate them for that. That was their least path of entry into the fitness world. Now, as a coach, you can now say, okay, I see that you enjoy running. Like, how far do you run? Like, hey, how long does it take you to run? Here goes the things developmental wise that we can do to help you run further. Because I want you to keep doing the things that you love. We don't want to take away from it, even though as a fitness professional, we know that running ain't going to get them the results that they're looking for. We know that, but we want them to be able to understand what will keep them doing the thing that they love to do. And listen, that could even be somebody saying, hey, I like Sunday Fun Day. I love my mimosas. Okay, Jill, let's talk about what we could do on Monday through Saturday so that when you go on Sunday Fun Day and you're drinking all the mimosas, you're not feeling guilty on Monday. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's really just about getting good at one thing at a time and then building on from there. This is a lifelong journey. And that leads me to my last step, where it's create a plan of action and embrace that you don't know. Okay, that you don't know. Because we often try to say, oh, I know. That's what I get a lot from people who want consultations from me, is that they know everything. But for me, being in the industry, you sound like the rest of the 40 other people or 100 other people that I've vetted that knows all the things, but yet you're unhappy where you are. You don't know.
You don't
right?
know. Yeah.
You don't know. And I will tell you, I don't know is the best place of discovery and learning.
Because you're open to learning. Yes.
Exactly. And then you can enjoy the journey. So, like, for instance, if I know I'm going to go visit a foreign country or city that I've never been to, but I have this plan that's going to get me there, right? I got the plane ticket. The pilot's going to lead me there. I'm trusting my life with the pilot's hands. You know what I mean? Just to get me from where I am to that beautiful island that I've heard so much about, to the point where I've envisioned it, right? I want to be there. I want to feel the way that I see in the pictures and all those different types of things. But at the end of the day, I really don't know how to get there. Like, if you told me, okay, what sea are you going to cross? How long is it going to take you? How many, altitude? You don't know, right? And you don't even know what the experience is going to be like until you actually get on the plane and you go. You might have turbulence. You might have all the things, but it's still not going to deter you from your destination. Does that make sense? We're willing to get on that plane, right? Because in our mind, the destination is perfect. Yes. You get what I'm saying? That's where it's perfect, the destination, not the journey. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, to say you don't know is the best way to learn. It really, really is the best way to learn. Like, just say you don't know, right? Like, just say it. Yes.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yes. I'd rather hear that as a coach and as a trainer than you compare yourself to your childlike body. Yeah, right? As a high schooler. You were in your hips is not the way they are now. They're not. You get what I'm saying? And that's something that I learned like recently this year, just really embracing my woman body and not. Do you get what I mean? Like, not like, oh, when I was in, I used to lose weight quickly. Yeah, because I mean, you're a kid and you really.
Your metabolism is way faster.
Well, and then, you're more active. You get what I mean? Like, you're really active, but you're not knowing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, when I train these kids, I would like to say, just from observation, these kids are very, very, they're active, but they're not productive. They're not intentional. Do you get what I'm saying? So to say that we were this way when we were a kid, no, you weren't. You actually have more tools and maturity now. The problem is you don't want to, because you know how much effort it's going to take. Whereas a kid in your childlike mind, you shortchange the effort because you can't cheat corners because you look a certain way. Do you get what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Or you feel a certain way. When I'm training these young athletes, you think they touch the lines? When I tell them, hey, I need you to run, touch this line. No,
They
they
don't
don't. You think they get down in a low squat? No, they
know.
can't even do push-ups. They cheat. They cheat. But yet, for some reason, as an adult, we're like, oh, I was in the best shape of my life. No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
You was not
Because you was not. You was just active,
active.
So those are my tips. I think I gave y'all about like 25 things to
No,
think
that was
about, but
good. We needed all of that. We needed all of that. We needed all of that. But you right. And I guess like I think that's what kind of scares people the most is that they know that it's gonna take. That's the one thing that they know that it's gonna take hell and
effort.
high water to get to where they're trying to get to. And it's just being
Yes.
able to make that commitment, you know. Oh, those tips was great. Those tips was
It's
everything.
just going
Thank
to
you so
take
much.
effort and commitment. That's
And
just
commitment
really what it is. So, yeah,
means a lot.
it is very hard to adjust to something brand new into your already crazy schedule, right? But just
Mhm.
if we could just embrace, I'm scared to be successful.
True.
I'm scared to deal with myself, right?
True.
Like, and I say it with a smile, but it because it is scary. You know
It's
what I
true.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to make light of it, but you're not the only one. You get
Mhm.
what I mean? Like you're not the only one. Um, Again, it's just making a choice, and if we go back to just finding those small wins over time, guess what? You in it.
Yeah.
You in it.
Just taking that, like literally taking that one step at a time. Because I say that all the time to myself because I started my journey while I was in college, and it's like when I started, I wasn't afraid to be like. I wasn't afraid at all to just go for something that I had never went for. And like you said, I would always think about like how I was super duper active when I was a child. Like I was super duper active, but yet and still I still was heavier than everybody on the team. So I always feel like I
Mhm.
needed to work a little bit harder just so I could keep up with everybody else. So then when I finally took my journey into my own hands, I realized that it's not about me having to work harder to keep up with everybody else. It's about me adhering to my own goals and taking it one step at a time and just getting to wherever it took me. You know, like just being open to go wherever this takes me. And I think that was just the big thing about, being on a journey. It's not so much always focused on the aesthetic of what being on a wellness journey is, because I know a lot of people get so consumed and what it looks like, what it should look like, how they should be. And that could be like the defeating force of everyone's journey when they focus a lot on aesthetic. And I know
Right.
we talked briefly about that when we was together at the when we was getting the certification. And I wanted you to kind of go into that more of like people focusing more on the aesthetic of being on the wellness journey and like how it's so much more than that. And I feel like you could give us a good answer, Miss Sheila. So let us hear it.
Oh my gosh. And it's a very sensitive subject, and I will say just as a human being, I still am struggling, with
Yep.
body image. You
Hmm.
get what I mean? Because of course, when you feel like in your head you want to look a certain way, right? And you're putting in the work, right? And it's not coming soon enough, or you feel like nothing is happening, you have to stop and pause and be like, yo, this does not define me, like there's so many more things to embrace versus how I look on the outside. You get what I mean? So it's just like, and I say this from experience because there was a point in the beginning of my wellness journey where it's funny because when I used to say it, now I understand why people used to look at me like funny. But in my head, okay, I was extremely overweight, because I've never been that size before, right?
Hmm.
But really, what I was trying to say was I never felt the way that I felt before.
Yeah,
You get what I mean?
it was a feeling.
So yeah, it was more of a feeling, versus the look, you know. But I would tell people, because I started my fitness journey, I was like, first of all, let's see, my son, I'm 39. Somebody do some math for me. I'm 39 and my son, my son will be 12 this year. So that's where I kind of do when I
So like
kind of
20,
started this thing.
like 27.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like 89 pounds, and I felt like I was this really big girl. I'm from California, and it's like, California has this thing about body image, so I thought I was chunky, and and that was a part of my story. Like, I was 189, close to 200 pounds, and I lost 55 pounds. So at one point, I was like 130 pounds. When I walked on stage at my first competition show, I was 117 pounds. I've seen myself with a six pack. You get what I mean? I've seen myself with a bobblehead. When I started my Camp Gladiator, when I started my Camp Gladiator business, I was finishing my first year of competition shows, or my last show. It was my fifth show that I did, Chasing Aesthetics in the title. And it was weird because every morning, let me back this up. I told my husband, like, I had the right mindset. I said, it's going to be very hard to focus on competing and building a business, right? Or starting a career.
Yeah.
And I decided to not work with my coach anymore, who was coming up with all my meal plans and telling me the amounts and, all those different types of things to prep me for what I thought I would do, another show in October in a different category where I had to build muscle. And I made that decision. And I remember I was nervous. And I told my husband, I'm like, I'm scared to like quit my coach in the coaching. And he was like, he looked at me and he said, well, it's not like you don't know how to eat. Like, you knew, because prior to me competing, I had already had some success. And to be honest, I found a great balance of what I felt was a healthy lifestyle. Do you get what I mean? I was getting results and I was eating the way that I wanted to, where could have pizza. I can have etouffee because we would go to New Orleans. I can have
Have a good time.
But I also learned how to create better meals for myself majority of the time. You get what I mean? So it was like I wasn't depriving myself, and I was working out consistently, had a lot of energy. I had a really good rhythm. But when I became a fitness competitor, then at that point, somebody's telling you what to eat, how much, in order to look a certain way by the time it's time to hit the stage. That's a whole different thing, because now you're seeing your body transform in ways that you've never seen. And I can only speak for me. And this is not a knock to any fitness competitor out there. This is just my journey, that you're looking at that and you start defining it. Oh my gosh, I'm in the best shape of my life, right? But you're not realizing that you're doing just like what professional athletes do, where they shred their bodies to pieces just for a game or a performance. Basically, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. That's not what healthy looks like. Just because you have a six pack doesn't mean that you're healthy. You get what I mean? And now, mind you, I had a lot of energy and I was fast and, just all these different types of things. And I could do pull-ups. I was very proud of that. I mean, of course, why wouldn't you be able to pull up 115 pounds, girl? You was like a twig. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, but, when I told my husband I was going to let go of that, and he told me like, yo, like, you know how to eat. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I do know how to eat. But then I didn't know how to eat anymore. Because when I didn't know what my normal size looked like. Because again, I started this journey to lose weight. And of course, it's a place of discovery. You don't know what your best self looks like, right? But
True.
I guess when you ask it right now, what does your best self look like? Because you can always change your aesthetics, but
Always
your inside, like
what it
I
is.
have people that I train now that are like, they've been in this journey for a year. And just because they haven't reached an aesthetic goal, it's almost like they don't feel like they're valid enough to say, I work out. Yes, you do. You've been
Yes,
working out
yes,
for
for a
a
year
year. Like you are in this lifestyle. Like think about how do you feel now versus
when you
when you
started.
felt a
Mhm.
year ago, right? So it's like I say this to say, me looking in the mirror, checking if my oblique line was there for a whole year and telling myself I'm 2 weeks out, not wanting to eat chicken and broccoli and I don't want to eat none of that stuff. I was like, give me the pizza, right? And then I'm
Yes,
like, please.
pizza.
Like in my mind, I kept saying, Monday, I'm gonna get back on track. Monday. But you know what I started to sound like? The people that I was serving,
Mhm.
right? And it was like everything that I built went out the window. Do you get what I'm
I
saying?
feel
And
you.
I started envision, like I don't know what I was seeing in the mirror. Like in my mind, I thought I was getting big. I look back at pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, you manifested yourself into like this person that
Mhm.
you weren't. Like you didn't embrace the person that was in front of you. You
Front of
didn't
you,
thank
yeah.
Yes, you didn't thank the person that was still going, that was building a business, that was thriving and still working out, that was still being mindful of their food choices. You were so worried about that number on the scale and whether or not you had striation in your muscles in order
Mhm.
to be valid.
To be valid, yeah.
And it was like, it took me literally 3 years to just be like, I don't even care about aesthetics anymore. I care about performance.
Performance,
Because
yeah.
when you train for performance, then everything will match. Do you get
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Eventually over time. And what's interesting, I had a big aha moment. And I know this is getting long winded. I apologize. But
No,
like, I had a big aha moment when I went to Cancun for my birthday, right? And mind you, I was hoping that I would be smaller, and I
it's
wouldn't
a
be.
vacation.
I was hoping, yeah, for the vacation, just like everybody else, but I wasn't. I was just like, you know what? It's fine. Like I had came to terms. Like I self-soothe myself better now and love on myself better. And we went snorkeling. And the guy who was hosting the Cameron to do the snorkeling, he was like scaring everybody crazy. Like he was just like, if you cannot swim, like if you cannot swim, then don't do it. Right. And
Mhm.
my mind started reverting back to when I was a kid, when I failed swimming lessons, right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't want to get in the deep end. And in my mind, I couldn't swim. Right. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know why. I was like, I couldn't swim. But then I just kept listening to this guy scare everybody out their minds. And if something was telling me, you're scared, do it anyway. And I was
Do it
like, wait a
anyway.
minute, I don't want to die, like this is crazy, right? So he was like, can you guys swim 200 yards for snorkeling? Like 200, two football fields, right? So I say this to say, I went snorkeling. And not only did I swim 200 yards, I swam 200 yards with ease. And now
Ease.
I don't look the way that I look. I swam with ease. And I was watching people behind me.
Having a second breath, yeah.
Yes. And then we get out the boat and they were just like, wow, you're in shape. Do you swim all the time? I'm like, no, I
No.
just lift weights. I lift weights and I'm following a good training regimen. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
in the industry. And they were like, well, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 39. And these are, I say kids, but these are people who are in their early
They
20s
they kids.
and I'm, drinking my water and rehydrating myself and they're replenishing themselves with alcohol. Do you get what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
like, and then they're wondering, why do I look so young? You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or how am I able to move? And for me, that was enough to be like, this is more better this is more better at this age for me to be in the best shape of my life. I can do things that a lot of people can't do. When
And
I'm
do,
training those kids, when I'm training those kids and I'm able to perform a push up in front of them, or I'm able to show them agility piece, and they're just like,
wow. Like,
dang, yeah. Like or they'll be like, I don't want to work. Like she hard, like it makes me feel better. Like I feel so
it,
much better. Like I put it out there. But I just say that to say, like, when you think about your aesthetics, like your aesthetics is always going to change because your body's already, it's going to change. I don't know what my body's going to be like when I hit menopause. So to think, you get what I mean? Like I'm going to be the same way, or to have the same level of care. Like at this point, at this stage of my life, I just care that I'm not in pain. I'm able to do my 7 primal movements with like literally no pain. Can I hinge? Can I squat? Can I lunge? Can I
mm,
twist? Can I run? Can I bring my knees to my chest? Do you get what I mean? Can I
mm,
touch my toes? I listen. That's really, because I feel like if you look good, you look good anyway. You
right.
gonna find. I see people who don't work out and they spend so much money on looking good.
And look good.
So yes,
So
you be externally looking good and internally feeling like crap, right? Like that's what
yeah.
we do. We
So it's
mask
like
ourselves.
all the time.
Yeah.
That's so true. And that's crazy how you said that. Like, because like over this last year, I know we had talked briefly about it too. How I was telling you, like, I kind of like felt like I was backtracking because I started to gain some weight. And
Hmm.
even when I felt like I was my heaviest, I literally ran a 15K without stopping. So I had to sit down and think to myself, like, I'm over here beating myself up about like picking up weight, and you running the whole 15K without stopping. So like literally performance, like you said, like focusing on performance is literally everything, because you can't fail. Like if you want to be stronger, that's something that you could work towards and actually meet without feeling down about yourself and not feeling like you didn't reach a certain goal, like you say, looking a certain
Hmm.
way. that
Hmm.
that's the
And I
one.
will say, and I'm hearing it in my spirit, so I feel like I need to share it. But like, if you're unhappy with where you are, get stronger.
Hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying? Get stronger. And the best way to get stronger is to get in the weight room, because
Getting
it's going to translate anywhere else. Because remember, you build strength, you build confidence. So just think about your mind and how much more stronger you'll feel. Like, I know for me, when I was like really raw into my journey and I was really feeling myself and I felt like I was lifting weights, oh, I was strong. You couldn't tell me that I couldn't walk into a room and feel like I could like beat up everybody. You get what I mean? Or I couldn't make my presence be known,
yes.
because I just felt so good in my regimen and the weights that I was lifting. But you know what? I was always operating off of high energy and fast stuff until I
Hmm.
got injured and I had to slow down. I didn't feel that strong then.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it was hard. It was very, very hard to choose to get stronger. All God is saying is, okay, if you're here and you're trying to go here, then hey, we got a condition. We
Yeah.
got to condition, just like an athlete. We got a condition, because how else are you going to be able to sustain the race, right, or the journey, if you're not conditioned? And that comes with literally training for performance. So like, and I'm saying this to myself right now, like, you don't like where you are, get stronger.
Hmm.
Like, go get stronger, because what's your quit look like? Like, stop quitting so easy,
So
right?
easy.
If
Yeah.
you quit it, like when I tell my clients now, I'm like, yo, get good at one thing, but don't get good at quitting. Like,
Exactly. Don't make
don't
it a
get
habit.
good at it, because now that's translating into you need to get stronger. You
Hmm.
need to get stronger, because guess what? Life is going to continue to
So
get
yeah.
more challenging. We could be blessed to live a long life, but even with being blessed to be here every single day, you're going to see people who don't make it. You get what I mean? That pass away, right? And you got to be strong for that.
You got to
You
be
get what I
strong.
mean?
Yeah.
You got to be strong for that. So like, I look at my journey and I know that my journey, the first motivation, external motivation was my dad. And I thought I had this story on lock, y'all. I had a whole different story that I used to tell. And mind you, it's still a part of my story, but I thought that was the end. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, her dad passed away. She gained all this weight just because of grief and depression. And now she's this fitness professional that will, share what it's like to be a child of a parent who didn't take care of himself and being a parent of, children, that changed the trajectory. That was going to be my story, right? Until my mom passed away 4 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. When my mom passed away, then it was like, okay, God, what now? What's
Yeah,
my story? Then I got injured the same year. I'm like, are you kidding me?
exactly.
Like, I can't do the things that I used to do. I don't have the same motivation that I used to have. And it's almost like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
motivation comes and goes,
You're right.
right? Life changes, seasons changes. What motivated you before, right, ain't gonna motivate you right now.
It
It
ain't.
might not even motivate you tomorrow. You get what I'm saying? So it's
You're
just
right.
like, what else do you need? And all I can think about is just getting stronger.
Stronger.
It's
You're
just getting
right.
stronger and getting more in alignment with God's path in my life. You get what I mean? And how he uses fitness to be able to endure the path for us. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? So it's just like to only rely on motivation is a weak thing. It's gonna have you quitting quickly.
All the
But
time.
yeah, but habits and that foundational stuff is what's gonna keep you going.
For
You
the
get what I
long haul. For
mean?
the
Long
long
haul.
haul.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm so amazed because everything that you're saying now is just hitting me on a very spiritual and personal level. And I hope everybody in the comments is feeling the same way because everything that's why when first of all, let's talk about how young she look, y'all. When we met, she told me her age. I said, "You lying." I said, "You are lying," and that just comes with like just taking care of yourself internally and externally, but more so internally because being stressed out can age you. Being all the time
It
stressed
can.
out about like chasing everything, like chasing to be this perfect person for others' validation, that can age you. But just literally, like she said, getting stronger should be the goal. Getting stronger to like face any obstacles that life just might throw at you. Any obstacles in the weight room, they say, "I bet you can't lift this," and then you show them you can. So
Yes.
we are gonna open the floor for a couple of questions, ladies. We're gonna open the floor for a couple of questions so Miss Sheila can enjoy the rest of her Sunday.
Oh,
So
I'm loving this.
let's
I can do this all day. I'm like looking, I didn't even know all these comments were here.
yes,
I
the comments
apologize,
are
y'all.
here.
Y'all was right with me. I love y'all.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take some questions, beautiful people.
Yes, ask
Let's see.
away.
Let's see. Let's take some questions. All right.
You're
Somebody,
welcome, Miss Darla.
yes, stress does kill.
Yes,
Everybody
it
probably just
does.
everybody just probably in awe right now. They're trying to figure out what you said a lot, so they're probably like, we really don't even have anything to ask. But I know
Well, it's so crazy. If you guys are thinking of questions, I do want to share this one little thing of my testimony
Mhm.
that I think this group can handle. Some people might miss it. Okay. When you lose a parent at a very young age and you're in trauma, you get what I mean? I think sometimes most of the time you might get trapped at that age and in that trauma. And I really, even though I'm growing up in age, I didn't realize that my mind was still there seeking for a lot of the things that I needed,
Mhm.
from the time my father passed away all the way up until this point. So um, a part of my journey was trying to find a healthy young woman. So maybe I feel like that's where even my taste in clothing or aesthetics and all that stuff was really attracted to this certain look, right? And it's interesting because the moment that I decided after, especially after my mom passed away and, the pandemic hit, when I decided to start healing and being in more acceptance, and I went on this journey of like really discovering who I am. And I remember my pastor challenging me, like, well, let's talk about who God says you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I went on this path and this journey. All of a sudden, what I was seeing in the mirror was something totally different, and that was the embracing of this woman body and being okay with where I am. Remember when I shared with y'all, when I first started, I was like 189 pounds. I went to the doctor, they're like, I'm like 190 or 175. Like, it's just been fluctuating, and I don't even care because what I see in front of me is a grown, beautiful woman. And it was just like within the last year, I started getting all these gray hairs in the top of my head, right? So it's like when we think about stress killing us, like it doesn't have to look like gray hair. Gray hair could be a beautiful thing. Your curves could be a beautiful thing. What you see in the mirror can be a beautiful thing of acceptance. And the stress could be you staying stuck. Do you get what I mean? And having trapped emotion or trapped whatever it is within your life. You get what I'm saying? Like that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to share as a part of my story. Oh, I
Okay.
see some questions now.
There we go. Okay. How do you
Okay.
manage your food intake and better eating habits with your children?
So, okay, we're in an interesting stage. Y'all know I keep it real. We're in a very interesting stage in our life because of course my kids are older. My son is 11, he'll be 12, and my daughter's 14. So I was the mom earlier on where I literally, like, I pride myself that my kids never knew what Kool-Aid was or any of soda. I was on the way more extreme end of things. And I healthily prepared organic meals and all that stuff for my family, right? But after, the thing with my fitness journey and then also starting my business and then us having to put our kids in other people's care and my kids, having their own life and social life and things, and they got introduced to soda and Takis, and there's no turning back from that, right?
Right.
I had to kind of I had to find a balance, there. So one thing that I do is, I still keep the same habits that I have. I try to buy foods that have the best ingredients for us to cook with. Now that's if I go grocery shopping. If my husband goes grocery shopping, that's a whole nother thing. But I will say that the gift is in you basically, controlling what you want for your family until you get pretty good at it. So it's like, even if my husband does go grocery shopping, I still use it as an education moment for him. I tell him why this isn't the best choice of sausage if we're going to eat sausage today, so that way he knows later. Now it's gotten to the point where he knows how to buy lean meats. My kids get used to eating more lean meats, more veggies, things that whatever that looks like, and trying to mix it up. But I still let them eat the things that they want. It's the education piece for me, so that they know. They can never say that they don't know. So I really don't put too much weight on it, if that makes sense. I know I just said a lot, but really it goes to a mindset. I don't put that much weight on it because it's just more so of just trying to figure out ways to incorporate those macronutrients, which is the protein, carbohydrates and healthy fats into their regimen. So it's like if my kids decide to make them a quick snack, they know mom's checking that snack like, hey, where's your protein? Like, you don't
Yeah.
have any protein. You cannot just eat carbs all the time. Like that's just what I do.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, do you see another one?
Um
Do you meal prep?
somebody do I meal prep? No.
No.
I don't know. And I do see benefits of it. Like, this is the way I used to coach when I was in a more healthier space when it came to food. Um earlier in my journey, when I had that great balance, I used to say, hey, meal prep is your leftovers, right? So it's like, if you're already cooking with the ingredients that you like, you looked up a recipe, you learned how to make red beans and rice more healthier, or whatever that you eat. Like, y'all, I'm half Filipino. There's no way I'm giving up my Filipino culture. My husband's from New Orleans. We're not giving up all of that. We're just going to find healthier ways to cook it. It still may not be the healthiest, but yo, that's what we're going to do, because something is better than nothing. And then you learn more over time, right? So what I say is, like, whatever you cook, that's leftovers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, meal prep, that's your meal prep. Like, okay, you cooked this last night, bring it to
Whatever.
work.
Bring it to
Right? Like, yeah, like I don't get excited about a whole bunch of Tupperware unless somebody else made it and they made it with love.
Okay. I think this is, how can a person get stronger by embracing their body?
How can a person get stronger by embracing their body? Woo, that is, I mean, just really thanking your body where you are right now. Like, your body has been through so much, right? Like, it has carried you so much, even in its unhealthiest state, right? Like, I look at it like, if you know that you need to change something today and you're in that space, you're in your worst case scenario right now,
Yeah.
right? So you've already kind of accepted, or you should have accepted, that you are in your worst case scenario because you want to change. So with that being said, just making a decision like, hey, I want to get stronger, and determine what stronger looks like. Because I could name so many different ways to be strong, but the biggest thing is, you don't know what you're strong in until you identify your weaknesses.
True.
So, mm-hmm.
Okay, I think this is a good question. And then we're gonna take one more after this one. Is there
Okay.
something the preteen you would say to the you now that you wish you heard then?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I just actually, this was a part of some of my healing work, and it was like 3 weeks ago. And shout out to the fact I did not cry this thing. I usually cry all the
I
time.
cry
And
all
I'm
the
like, why did I
time.
cry? Okay. But and there's nothing wrong with crying. I'm a crier. So one thing that I just learned, and I wish somebody would have told me, was to keep going. Like, you have so much potential. Like I think if somebody would have, like, came to me, including myself, and just told me that this is just a part of the process you're developing, and I'm saying this in as it relates to sports, because, like, I started running track. I ran AAU track since I was in the 4th grade, and I was very slow. I lost a lot of races, and then in the 8th grade, I started to win races, right? Like,
Yeah.
I guess because, puberty was hitting or whatever. But then my father passed away, and I just lost all my motivation. And I think I went back to what I first thought, which was I was slow.
Mm-hmm.
And and because I used to give up so easy, I wasn't strong, because I was dealing with grief. I just wish somebody else would have took time, like my village, knowing that I've been running since the 4th grade. Here I am in the 10th grade, 11th grade, and I just kept quitting, right? Even playing basketball. I just wish somebody, and I wish myself would have took myself by the hand and just said, you're good. We
Yeah.
just got to develop. We just have to develop on what we already have. Like, the development stage is the most important ever. Like, the performance is where you get to celebrate. You get what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, where you get to kind of see it. Like, snorkeling is where you get to celebrate all the things that you developed in. You get what I mean? So it's just like, I was defining who I was by these races and didn't have enough time for development, right? Like, how do we have a testimony without development? You get
Without,
what I'm saying?
yes, true.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so nice. Miss Brenda said that she did not want to make you cry.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, this is a good question. Do you think a trainer is necessary?
Yes. And I say it because I'm a trainer.
Yes,
No,
me
but no,
too. Necessary.
I do think trainers are necessary at some point in your journey. You get
Mhm.
what I mean? If you are looking for more specifics on things that you can improve on, or if you or if you have certain goals and you notice that you hit a wall, and it could be very subtle, like for instance, I'll give you an example of somebody like myself, just in case there's anybody on who's been in the journey for a long time and be like, oh, I don't need a trainer, I know how to lift, I know how to do the things, right? Well, there was a point in my journey where I would run and my mind would tell me to go faster, and I felt like I was conditioned enough to go faster, but my body physically couldn't go faster. I was like, why can't I go faster? Like, I felt a big old wall, and I was like, why can't I go faster? Well, here I am 3 years later after working with some of the most amazing trainers. Like, I'm a trainer that trains trainers, and I still work with trainers. Do you get what I mean? Like, because you can't coach like, it's really hard for you to coach yourself because you're going to think you're the greatest and
I
the
gave
worst
up
person
already.
at the same time.
I gave it up.
Yeah, you're gonna think you're the greatest and the worst person at the same time. It's like weird. But like, after working with several trainers and learning more mechanics and learning like different functions, I realized, oh, well, you can't run faster until you get stronger. Here we go again. You can't run faster until you get stronger. You can't just run faster just because you say go fast.
True.
You have to get stronger, and you need a plan to get stronger. So, that's my friend Sheena that asked that question. Hi, Sheena. Fun fact about Sheena. Sheena said that she follows you. She reached out to me yesterday, and she said she follows you, Dawn, and you're an inspiration that has helped her so much. Yeah, and I didn't even know she followed you. So I think that's awesome. Yes. Yeah, Sheena, like, I think at the stage that you're in, you probably need a trainer for the accountability. And I say this for everybody. Like, if you can afford a trainer, definitely get you a trainer, because they are going to hold you accountable. And holding you accountable means that they're going to tell you the things that's probably you need, but you don't want to hear. Mm-hmm. So,
true.
Yeah, and to keep you going.
Okay. I don't want to. Let's see. Do we have any more?
Yeah. Somebody said, what helped me develop discipline?
Yes. Okay, that one.
Okay. So what helped me develop discipline? Oh my goodness. It's just continuing to do the hard yes versus the easy no. Because I know, y'all, there's a B right here. Because I know that I would definitely, like, for instance, I'm in a challenge right now. Shout out to my girl, Rachel Word. She's another trainer out here in Houston. She's a phenomenal woman, and her strength is mindset, whereas mine is motivation, right? And we know motivation comes or goes. So like, when I don't have the motivation, then that's when mindset has to kick in. And that's something that I continue to strengthen, is my mindset, right? Yes. So we have a challenge. It's called the Pack Challenge. It's the perfect April challenge. Our whole goal is to close all 3 of our rings every single day on our Apple Watches. Yes. Every single day for the month of April. Now, usually I want to do nothing like this, okay? Because I am not one of those people. But for some reason, I felt led to do it this time. And it's crazy because like 2 weeks in, I was tired, and I'm tired now, y'all. Like, and I was tired, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But then I thought about, man, I gave 18 days of committing to this. Like, I would be more disappointed in myself for this easy no versus just getting it done. Just getting it done. So, right. So one thing I will say to you, and I forgot who asked that question, is that when you get really good at making decisions quickly, like, then that's where the discipline, like, it's just second nature at that point. Because when you go back and forth on whether or not you should do something that you scheduled to do, then we're our discipline, that's where we have to make that decision to do it and do it anyway. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that answered your question. You just got to do it.
You just got to do it. That's true. Because like, sometimes if you know that you have something planned to do, and then you start thinking of a way to not do it, it takes so much time to just tell yourself, okay, let me just do it. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's one reason why I meal prep. That's my reason why I meal prep, because it's already ready. So then when I get to thinking about other stuff that I can eat, then you got to go get it, because it's really not exactly. It's just easier to be like, okay, let me just do what I said I was going to do, and let
I
that
think
be
you
it.
just gotta find a happy balance because there's a thing of having too many options and not enough options, right? So it's like when you think about that, so it's like you gotta know who you are. And but the thing is it's a journey of discovery. You're going to find what works best for you and what doesn't. But that's why I say, like, just being honest and being vulnerable, especially if you do work with a trainer. Sometimes, like, a trainer will ask you, and I don't know if this happens with you, Dawn, when they ask a nutrition question, and you say, okay, well, give me a typical, you know, um,
Yeah.
day of what you eat. And the first thing people say, and if y'all are guilty of this, I'm calling you out. The first thing they say is, oh, I don't eat bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat bad. I just, I don't eat a lot of bread.
Yeah, it's like all
And
it's like
I
kind
have a
of
little bit of fish and I have some salad and just like, all these answers that I hear all the time. And I always have to tell them, don't tell me what you think I want to
want
hear.
to hear because
Tell
I'm
me
here
the
to help
tell me
you.
the truth. Yeah, tell me the truth because I'm not judging you. Like, you need help. I need to know the truth
Yeah.
so that I can help you. Because
Yeah.
I have no doubt that you don't eat necessarily bad. You get what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
think anybody here is eating Popeyes every single day. You
Exactly.
know, um, but if you ate Popeyes on Friday and then went to Sunday Fun Day on Sunday and then you went to a graduation party on Saturday, right? That's where things start adding up. Okay.
Adding
So
up.
it's just
Yeah.
like, again, it's not that there's anything wrong with that and that you can't do that. But if it's not set up for you to be aware and to make better choices, that's where, we get in trouble. Like, we have to be aware. We have to
Yeah.
have some level of um, structure or budget when it comes to our nutrition,
Appreciate that.
And Dawn, if I could share one more thing before we log off, because I think
Mhm.
this is very important, because I get this question a lot, about nutrition. And I'm just gonna give the answer, not the question. Okay. When y'all, like, when you think about the amount of food and just an awareness, like whether you do my fitness pal tracking, whether you do macro tracking, or if you do Weight Watchers, right? Like, all that stuff gives you a value, right? Or if you do BMR tracking, it gives you value, right? Like, food has to have a value, just like money, and everything that we buy has a value, right? So when you think about your bank account, let's say you have $2,000 in your bank account, and you have to, and that's all that you get to spend every single day. That's a lot of money, but let's just say you get to spend
Mhm.
$2,000 every single day, right? And you're not going to get replenished that 2 grand until the very next day. You get what I mean? But it's very important that you spend it all. Okay. You spend
Yeah.
every dollar. Then how would you spend it? Do you get what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
you got to look at food the same way. Like, if you have 2,000 calories, or somebody, or you researched it and you're like, and I think I'm supposed to be eating 2,000 calories as an example, right? Well, how do you want to spend that 2,000 calories? If you get up
Mhm.
at 5 a.m., right, and you decide to eat a piece of pizza or 2 pieces of pizza, now that's like 1,800 calories. Now you got the rest of the day. You're not going to bed until 11 p.m. Was that a way to spend your
It's
calories?
not the
The
way.
answer
Yeah.
should be no. No, that's not the best way to spend your calories. You start looking at food differently when you know the value of food and what you're spending and how much you get to spend. So it's good to work with a nutritionist or a coach, a nutrition coach, with that, so that they can help you
Like
learn
balance
some
it out.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And then
good to
listen,
think about it. Yes.
freedom of food, because then look, you'll be like, oh, okay, I love crave cupcake. And if I know my nutrition values for the day based on my goals, I know where to put in my crave cupcake.
You know where to put it in. True. You know how
Yes.
to balance everything else to make sure that crave cupcake has a special place.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to think about it. So I'm glad that everybody came and joined us. Look, okay, so that it costs too much. It costs too much. You gonna run out.
Yeah.
I'm
And
so
sometimes it's okay to overspend, too,
yeah.
because every day is not going to look different. You're not going to hit your nutrition goals every single day when you're tracking. So that's where, you get to kind of splurge a little bit and your body's going to be like, oh my gosh, thank you
Like,
for that
yes.
sweet. Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And Sheila, thank you so much. I'm pretty sure you touched so many hearts today with your testimony, with your story. And y'all, I'm going to be leaving all the details below in the when y'all go to for the replay to go follow Sheila on all her social media platforms. If y'all want to be a part of any of her future classes, because she has so much going on, new something new coming up, y'all. And I just want to thank everybody for joining in today. Thank you so much, Sheila. And with
You're welcome.
and with that being said, y'all already know the drill. Come back and mess with your girl. Peace out.